Tips with Tony. Tips with Tony. All about nutrition from your favorite dietitian. Everything you need to digest in your mind. Tips with Tony. Tips with Tony. Making you healthier one bite at a time. With Tony. Woo!
Happy New Year. I'm so excited to be back recording the Tips with Tony podcast. Just a heads up for you. This episode is actually also available on YouTube. So when it starts, you're going to hear me talking about the colors that I'm wearing. Well, you can't visibly see it, but if you want to see it, go to my YouTube channel, Tips with Tony, and you can watch me as I speak. Future podcast interviews are also going to be on YouTube. So get ready because 2024 is all about hearing and seeing and doing. Enjoy. Out with the old, in with the blue. I mean, new. Welcome to the Tips with Tony podcast. I'm Tony Marinucci, your registered dietitian, helping you get healthy one bite at a time. And this year, we're not just talking about physical health. We're talking about mental health, spiritual health, all of the things, because what you eat matters, but what you listen to matters, what you surround yourself with matters. And I truly believe that your health is not just based on diet and exercise. If you're new to the podcast, welcome. If you're an old-time listener, thank you so much for listening. For those who are old-time listeners, I feel like I need to apologize to you because I know that during really, really tough times, I turn to certain influencers and people that I look up to, and I can't wait for their podcast to come out because it's exactly what I need to hear to help me through those really tough times. However, the past 6 months, I have been going through it. I have been having a really hard time. And if I cry during this podcast, so be it. It's been rough. It's been really rough. And because of that, I've had to look inward, and I haven't really been able to talk about things because I was in the middle of them and I couldn't make sense of them. And I just needed a minute. I needed a minute to reflect and process and heal. And I'm still in it. I'm not through it yet, but I'm getting through it. And I actually am starting to see the light at the end of the tunnel, and I feel relieved. And the other thing, too, is I do believe that there's a nice balance between being vulnerable. I think being vulnerable is brave, and I think being vulnerable is healing in itself. And I think sharing what's on your heart, whether it's good, bad, ugly, beautiful, all the things, is really, really powerful. However, you don't have to share everything. There are people, and there's still silent battles that we all go through that doesn't necessarily need to be that you share it with people or talk to people about it. Now, I will say, though, that if you have any silent battles that you're going through, I do still think it's important to talk to somebody that you can trust or talk to, even if it's God. It doesn't necessarily need to be a physical being. But I do hope that you have somebody that you can confide in and go to, because it definitely will help you make it through, because you will make it through. And what I wanted to share today is one of my favorite quotes by Trent Shelton, who, by the way, shout out to Trent Shelton, because that man has literally carried me through the past 6 months, because for a minute, I forgot about who I was. I lost my center. I lost my core. I lost my power. I was so lost in survival that I literally forgot who I was. And that's why I wasn't showing up for myself. That's why I wasn't putting myself out there as much as I used to. And I was getting really bogged down and really tied down, but just trying to, keep my head above water and just trying to make it through the best way that I could. And there were really moments where I just didn't think I was going to get through it. I really was stuck. I was sad. I was angry. I was depressed. I was struggling. I was filled with anxiety. And I really didn't see myself coming out of this. I would have moments where I was like, okay, I'm going to get through it. And that's what kind of kept me through. But then there were other moments where I'm like, is this even worth it? Why am I even trying so hard? Maybe I had my moments and they were done and that's it for me. I was in a really dark place. And Trent Shelton, he always says is everything you're going through will one day be what you made it through. And I could be butchering the quote, but the point is that one day, everything you're going through right now, you are going to make it through. That's 100% the truth. It's not over until it's over, right? Like, and even when it's over, you're going to learn from it and you're going to grow from it. So really, it's not the end. You will make it through if you believe that you will. And eventually it'll either pass you by or you'll get through it. But it's definitely not easy. And you do have to be the one that gets you through it, right? No one's coming to save you, although you might have beautiful angels throughout the process. And we're going to talk about that today because I have had some incredible humans step up for me in ways that now I realize I deserve it. But there were moments where I'm like, I don't even deserve this. And I understand that I'm blessed. And I understand that not everybody has family to depend on. Not everybody has friends to depend on. Not everybody has a community to depend on. And I don't take that for granted at all. So I guess what I'm saying is that at the end of the day, it's your responsibility. You have to show up for you. You have to decide that you are not going to stay stuck in certain situations and circumstances. And you have to be the one that digs deep and gets out of it. Oh, here we go. With that said, you can lean on people. There are people that are there for you that want to help you, that want to support you. But you got to ask for it. You got to ask for it. And you have people. You have people. And if you don't, I can be your person. I know we don't know each other. I know I just talked to a screen or, we may have never even met in person. But I've been through enough. I've worked with enough people, enough humans to really know what needs to be said or not said. If you just want me to listen, I can just listen. If you just want to write to me via email and just say, I just want you to know I just want to know that you read it. I can be that for you. Writing is another thing that really got me through this. You have to find what helps you. Writing, reading, meditation, walks. Oh my God, so many walks outside. That's another thing. I mean, that's a habit that I've always had is walks in nature. But oh my God, those things have literally, I think, saved my life. Those are special. Very, very special. And definitely something I don't take for granted. But okay, so I feel like I've been talking kind of around what I've been going through. If you follow me on social media, I've opened up about this. But this is the first time I've been able, I feel, I guess, safe enough to really talk about it because I'm getting through it and I'm on another side of it. When you're in survival mode, you kind of just do the best that you can because that's all you know how to do. But once you get through a little bit, you can actually talk about it. And there's still a lot. But here it is. I don't even know. And this is the other thing too, guys. I don't even know why I'm saying. I guess I'm sharing it because I want people to understand that they're not alone. I think I'm sharing it also selfishly because it does help me heal and reflect. Podcasting, coaching, everything that I do, I'm not going to lie, there's a selfish thing behind it because by helping you, it's helping me. I always reflect on when I'm helping people heal their relationship with food, body, and exercise. I think the reason why I'm able to stay so healed from the, away from the extremes is because I preach it every day. I talk about it every day. I'm reminded of it every day. So it's a lot easier for me to have that body confidence and that, food freedom, because it's literally something that I've taught for the past almost 10 years, right? So it's obviously easier for me. So not everybody has to have like a podcast or go into coaching, but I will say that if you help people, it could be like friends that you talk to, the more that you help others, you're actually going to also help yourself. It's a really, really special, beautiful reciprocation of things when you help the right people. Just remember that, because if you help the wrong people, you will stay stuck. But okay. So, all right, in short, a few years ago, right? So let me back up. So 2020, we all, know what the global pandemic did to us. Ironically for me, that year in business for me was really good. Really good. And I think it's because I had already had an online presence. My business was already online. So while everybody else was scrabbling to get online, I already did that. I've also always been someone who gives to my audience and gives value. And so when people like had nothing to do and they also didn't, they had extra money because they weren't spending it on commuting or they were getting stimulus checks or whatever it is, they had the money to invest in a nutrition coaching program. And I happened to be, really good at it. And it just happened to align. And business at that time was booming. I felt so good, so confident in how I was helping and serving people. I get text messages till this day of people that have worked with me during that year and say things to me like, I'm so glad it's the new year and I'm not going on a crash diet or a cleanse or a detox. I'm literally just continuing to love the way that I look and feel and appreciate my body from where it's at, and be healthy, balanced, mentally, physically, all around. And it's such a blessing and I love to do what I do. So 2020 was probably the best year for me in business, hands down. 2021, because as beautiful as it was, I was so busy. I had like 50 clients a month. I was trying to write my book at the time. Like I just had so much going on. So as much as it was really nice, because financially I was super abundant, my time was like so limited. I was doing everything. So that's when I hired my first employee. I had my assistant. Then I hired 2 dietitians. I had interns. I had a whole team and it was wonderful, guys. When I tell you at first, it was so great because now I was able to help even more people and all that. It was so wonderful. And the clients were happy. The dietitians that I hired are literally amazing. And you've heard them on this podcast. They're incredible human beings, incredible at what they do. It was just really, really great. Hold on, wait a minute. If you're celebrating Dry January, then you need to listen up because I have to tell you about Surely. Surely wines are the perfect non-alcoholic beverage for you to enjoy the flavor and taste of wine without getting the extra alcohol. I think that whether you're trying to cut back or cut it out completely, Surely wines are going to be the thing that you need to take full advantage of. It's crafted the same like traditional wines. They have rich flavors and aromas. I prefer the red over the white, but they're both really, really good. I also just prefer red over white during the winter time, so that's just me. But I have a special discount code for you. If you use Tips with Tony at checkout, you'll save 15% off your purchase. And remember, taking care of yourself doesn't mean compromising on taste. It is so important that you like what you taste and you consume, and you're not just doing it just to do it, but truly, be committed to the process, and you can enjoy it along the way. So if you are interested in trying Surely wines, they are non-alcoholic and delicious. Go to the link in my show notes to save 15% and use Tips with Tony at checkout. Enjoy. Anyways, fast forward, and I did not manage my money well. Let's just put it at that. Let's just say that. I did not manage my money well, and I take full responsibility for it. And, in 2020, I literally got out of credit card debt. I had savings. I moved into a luxury apartment. Like things were projected to go really well. I was writing my very first book. I had just done a TED. Like all these beautiful things were going on for me. And so I only just assumed that by hiring help, now I'd be able to reach more people, so make more money and be able to then expand more, right? But unfortunately, what really ended up happening was in 2021, I made the same amount of money I made the year before, but my expenses literally, I think, if I'm being honest, my rent went up 3 times, 3 to 4 times, which I chose because I thought I was going to make more money. Plus, I wanted more space. And I wanted to like elevate my environment. So I wanted to be around other wealthy people. So I bought into something that I thought was going to help cultivate that. And then I had, obviously I had payroll. So now the money was like not really, it wasn't overflowing. Let me tell you, it was stretched. It was really, really tight. And I made poor decisions. And the following year, it was worse. Like it was a lot harder. And I think a lot of people, they started going back to work. It was just not as easy. I think, I don't know. I mean, there's so many reasons why. But anyways, long story short, I would be like behind on rent just to make payroll for months. That's not good. I understand that looking back that's not good. I charged my credit card that I had just gotten out of debt with. Now I had more credit card debt. Because my business, I thought I was just trying to like going through the tough spot and I knew I could work through it because we, in the beginning, it's kind of like, even though it's not starting a new business, it was kind of like starting a new business because I had employees now. So it's kind of just like a whole different ballgame in the way things work. And so now I'm like, but I'm going to get through this. So let me take out a business loan. So I took out business loans, I took out credit cards, but no matter what I did, like I just felt like I was just digging myself, and I was digging myself a bigger hole and a bigger hole and a bigger hole. And it just came down to the point where like, I can't face eviction. I'm being completely frank and honest, which is like crazy to talk about and speak about out loud, but I can't be doing that and having a team. Like I have to let them go. And that was the hardest thing for me was letting them go because they are amazing. They did a great job. It was I think any business owner understands this. Like that's the last thing you ever want to do is someone who's helped you tremendously to not be able to show your appreciation. And it's like said, obviously I can say it. I was saying it all the time, how amazing they are, but like saying it and compensating them, it's very different. It's very, very different. So anyway, I had to make that really bad decision. Well, not bad decision. It was a smart decision, but it was a hard decision and I had to let them go. And that was really hard for me because I thought I would be continuing to grow. And yeah, that was tough. Anyway, so I did that. I started to get better about my finances. I started to really, I thought I was at least. I was trying to kind of cut back on things. I made a commitment to not use my credit cards, which you would think would be helpful. And it will be soon. It's not helpful yet. No, it is helpful now. It's getting there. But what I mean by that is like when you don't use credit cards, you have to really sit with like, the money's not there, you can't get it. That's it. You don't have it, you can't spend it. And even things like groceries or putting gas in the car, like it was tight. Like when I tell you, I was debating like, do I pay the Con Ed bill? Do I pay the rent? Do I pay the stupid traffic ticket that I got? Or do I just let it pile up because the priority right now is putting food on the table? Like that's how bad it was. Which is kind of crazy if you think about it, because I am very privileged. I didn't come from a background where I wasn't taught how to I have an education. I'm a registered dietitian. I have a master's degree. I have, other businesses that I have, but it was kind of crazy. It's like as much as I was making money in one business, then the other business wouldn't do well, or like vice versa. And no matter how much money came in, it was like I had all these credit card bills to pay. So it was gone. Like the money was gone. No matter how much money I made, it didn't make a dent. And it was hard. It was really, really hard. So any of you guys going through financial hardship, I totally get it. Um, it's really, really stressful. It's really, really stressful. Um, yeah, it sucks. It really, really sucks. So anyways, that happened. And now fast forward, so I let my team go. Um, Fast forward 2 months, and I don't know if I can talk about it yet. Thought I could. Um, mm. I found out that my partner of 5 years was not faithful, because we could say it like that. And I was completely blindsided, very frustrated, very angry because, and this is probably a whole other podcast, but I was nothing but incredible to that man. Like, I supported him financially for 5 years, which is, I'm not blaming anybody. It is not anybody's responsibility but my own. I made not great business decisions. But when someone doesn't work consistently or doesn't have a full-time job or doesn't pick up the slack, or even not even just that, like if, yes, okay, if you're not going to be working full time, but you can still, then take on more responsibility with the house stuff. It was kind of like I was doing everything. I was both the breadwinner and the caretaker. And I thought it was temporary. Like, I didn't think that this was going to be a long-term thing. I just thought he was going through a hard time, so I was being as supportive as possible. But like, time just flies. Like, if I look back those 5 years, he barely worked. He had a couple clients, personal training clients, stuff like that, which helped with like little things, but it really was not helpful. Now, ironically, the past 2 months, so I let my staff go in May. I was like, listen, you need to get a job. Like, I can't do this anymore. Like, I am drowning. I am drowning. My anxiety was at an all-time high. I cannot physically do this anymore. You need to get a job. You have to get a job. He finally started to see it. Gets a job, starts helping me with a little bit with the bills, paying me when he gets paid a little bit, not much, but something. It was enough to put food on the table and whatever. And then 2 months after, I find out he stepped out on me. I can't even. Like, oh my God. Mm, what? It's just wild. It's wild. It's so wild. Um, so basically, I could have forgiven him and I could have stayed with him. And he said he was sorry. And he obviously was like, I don't even know why I did it, and blah, 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 blah. But I can't sit here in front of you. I can't talk. I can't, as someone who wrote a book about self-worth and relationships and reciprocation. And I was just like, what the F? And what did I just do for the past few years? Like, I can't even, because there's no relationship that's perfect. And there are some beautiful parts to what we had, a lot of beautiful parts to what we had. But then, like, looking back, there's some really ugly parts of what we had. And a lot of the reasons why we stayed together probably weren't for the best reasons. And maybe that's another podcast. But like, at this point, I was like, I can't do this anymore. I can't. I could forgive you. I have forgiven him because that's just the best way, I think, for healing. But I can't forgive you and stay. Why? Why would I? Right? Like, no, just no. So it took me a minute after I found out. I gave myself some time to really think it over. And then after a couple of weeks, or not even, I kind of was just like, no, this is it. We were done. And so I had to go through all that. Um, and for those of you who know, I mean, it's not the easy breakup, especially when there's a child involved. Like that, I think was the layer for me that probably hurt the most. I'm not gonna lie, because I love that kid more than a lot of things. Like a lot of things. Our relationship is very special, and she is very special, and she doesn't deserve. Not I don't deserve what happened to me. She doesn't deserve what happened to her. Um, so it's just so much change, and so much of what I didn't expect at all. Like I thought by the end of this year, I mean, not more as of recently, I didn't expect the end of this year would be like this at all. But I don't even know what I thought because I'm not gonna lie, I was in the thick of the shit. So I really wasn't thinking anything positive. But maybe 2 or 3 years ago, if you would have asked me where I thought I'd be at 33 years old, it would not be back in my parents' basement. That is where I am. Oh my God. The world, the universe, God, he works in really mysterious ways. He really does. Um, And this episode, I have a call in 4 minutes, 6 minutes. So I'm gonna have to end this, but I needed to come on here and just let it out because that's all I know how to be, guys. And I think the reason why I was struggling with crazy anxiety, and I've opened up about my anxiety attacks, but I didn't really talk about, I thought it was like hormones and birth control, which I think had a big part to do with it. But I mean, the other layer is like I was stressed. I was so stressed all the time. I was trying to take care of everyone. I had the weight of the world on my shoulders, and I was tired. I was so freaking tired, guys. I was so tired. And I was trying so hard. And it's not like I wasn't trying to pretend everything was okay. Like I would be honest about when things weren't okay, but I wasn't being honest about the reason why things weren't okay. And I wasn't being honest with myself. So how can I be honest to the majority if I can't even be honest with myself, right? And I felt so just ick. Because one of the things that I really value is being genuine. I love genuine humans. I love genuine people. I love a genuine heart, like a genuine soul. Like those are the things that really matter to me. And so I was living inauthentic to who that was in my version of myself. And it just didn't feel good. It really didn't feel good. And so now it's like, I don't really know how else to be. So I appreciate, guys, the feedback, the support, anybody that's reached out to me. It's been absolutely incredible and special how amazing you humans are. But at the same time, I need you to know, like, I'm not like strong. I literally just don't know how else to be anything else. Like, I don't know how to not be brutally honest. This is something I've been blogging since I was 20 years old. 13 years of my life, over a decade of recording YouTube videos, and then later podcasts, and then writing. And excuse me, this is just who I am. So thank you. But this is all I know how to be. This call is coming through now. Okay. How do I want to end this? It's cliche, but things truly need to fall apart so that better things can come together. I have zero idea what my 2024 is going to look like, but I am starting to feel deep in my heart and my soul that it will be freaking fabulous. It's going to be amazing. It's going to be amazing because I didn't make it this far just to come this far, right? I didn't go through this for nothing, right? Whatever you're going through, make it worth it. Trust that if you're struggling, if you're in a dark place, if you feel like there's no light at the end of the tunnel, there is. You just got to dig. You got to keep going. You got to keep digging. And I know you're tired. I know you're tired. Girl, I'm so tired. But it's going to be worth it. It's going to be worth it. But you have to make it worth it. You got this. I love you. Thank you for listening. As always, this is Toni Marinucci, your registered dietitian, helping you get healthy one bite at a time.